Rage is a game created by id Software. You probably haven't heard of anything they've done. They're a really small company that made phantom titles nobody has ever heard of, like, and stop me if you've heard this one before, Doom. Jokes aside, Rage is a first-person shooter set in a post-apocalyptic world that is absolutely, in no way at all, a mishmash of Mad Max and Fallout. You play the role of a vault dweller, an Ark survivor, who wakes up into the cruel post-apocalyptic world to fight roving groups of bandits, mutants, and the Enclave, the Authority, which is, the remnants of the government who have survived the fallouts of the world. It's not really Fallout because it's an asteroid and not nukes, but you know what I mean. It's the Enclave. You've got a good arsenal to choose from, and most weapons actually have different types of ammo that can, in fact, radically change how those weapons work. For instance, you start off with this pistol, which is basically a pea shooter, which is nigh useless in most situations, but later on, you get more high-caliber rounds that actually make the gun worth using. Crossbows, as another example, come with your standard crossbow bolts. It's a big, steel bolt that it just fires, but can be upgraded with electro bolts, dynamite bolts, or even mind control bolts. Assault rifles have your standard and armor-piercing rounds, shotguns have buckshot and this mini rocket launcher ammo, etc., etc., etc. You'll switch between different weapons and ammunition depending on what enemies you'll be facing. Gadgets are also a secondary feature you'll use in battle, from the game's wing stick, which is its iconic gadget weapon that you see in all the covers and promotional materials, and it's basically a boomerang that decapitates people essentially, to grenades, turrets, these awesome little sentry robots that look like mechanical spiders, RC bomb cars, and more. But despite all this equipment, I really ended up not using a whole lot of it. I had 4 really mainstay weapons. Those weapons were the pistol with the Fat Boys ammunition, the Authority machine gun, the nail gun with the rebar launcher attachment for those big armored bullet sponge enemies, and the shotgun for,
I'd like to keep this handy for close encounters.
I heard that.
I'd occasionally also use the assault rifle over the machine gun if I didn't feel like wasting the machine gun's ammo, and every now and then I tried something new like the sniper rifle, the crossbow, or even the rocket launcher, but between those 4 weapons and the power of the wing stick, I felt like everything else wasn't necessary. Those 4 weapons, using the ammunition I mentioned, pretty much can take you through the entire game. Barring a couple of one-off situations, maybe. Gadget-wise, I stuck to basically the same 4 items as well, namely bandages for healing, the advanced wing sticks, which is an upgraded version of the wing stick, obviously, EMP grenades for the Authority, because just like the Enclave, they rely on lots of, high-tech stuff, and boom, EMP. And the occasional sentry bot if I got tired of fighting a horde by myself. Sentry bots are awesome, best gadget in the whole game. Except for maybe the wing stick. Shut up! As with the weapons, it's not like the other guns aren't useful. It's just that I felt these gadgets were more useful than the others. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I never, ever really felt the need to use any other weapons or items. It's not a negative on the game exactly, since maybe someone else felt differently and used other types of weapons or some other playstyle entirely. But personally, I found those weapons basically covered everything. I'm repeating myself now, but that's really all I have to say about it. I just needed those 4 guns, and that's it. The very last mission has the Authority Pulse Cannon, which is a minigun combined with a BFG, for those familiar with Doom. And you get to use it on 1 mission, which is the very last mission, and that's it. So yeah. Enemies come in 2 basic varieties. You have your mutants, which for the most part charge at you recklessly, and your human enemies, which take cover and take pot shots at you. They each have some variation of melee or shooting enemy, but for the most part, this is what you'll have to deal with every single time. Human enemies are fairly straightforward. They will take cover, they'll try to flank you, try to flush you out with grenades, while mutants will just run at you and dodge and weave to avoid gunfire, which can get annoying as sometimes, even at point-blank range, they'll do a last-minute dodge, requiring a follow-up attack, which is ugh. Perhaps the most egregious part is how bullet spongy enemies can get. Now, I had heard of this before starting the game, and while not as bad as I thought it would be, the fact that bullet sponges exist in this game is without question. Now, you can mitigate this bullet sponginess a bit with different types of ammo. Going back to the pistol again, your basic pistol round requires about 3 headshots on a normal human enemy on normal difficulty. 3 headshots. That is absurd. I mean, sure, it might not be the biggest caliber bullet, but 3 headshots on normal difficulty is stupid. More powerful types of ammo reduce this down to 1 or 2 headshots, depending on how armored they are. So if the enemy is wearing a helmet, you'll knock the helmet off with the first shot, and then, 1 headshot later, boom, it's done, which is how it should be. 1 headshot, unarmored face, boom, done. But bigger enemies will require even more to put down, and don't get me started on how many headshots bosses can take. Ugh. The wasteland itself is of an okay size overall, mostly traversed thanks to various vehicles you acquire over the course of the game. Unfortunately, the wasteland itself is not as entertaining as any Fallout wasteland. Basically full of just empty roads and bandit cars, and these will all... they'll just attack you periodically, like that's it. Just, oh look, enemy car, oh I wonder if, oh yep, every single car you see is going to try to kill you. And you can farm the bandits for money once you get a quest towards the start of the game, but I didn't go out of my way too often to accomplish this. Overall, Rage has some nice gunplay, some great animations, and a passable story that essentially is there to give the different gameplay segments some glue so that it all just sticks together. If you want a fun FPS to play, I would suggest the more recent Doom game, because that plays like a much more polished version of Rage, and it has a better soundtrack. Like, why play Rage when you can play Doom? Having played it, I don't think Rage is unique enough to warrant another playthrough. It's there, it exists, and it's just another blip in the ever-growing list of video games. It could have been a lot more. Like, there's lots of potential for this setting, and, it's well animated, the gunplay feels great, but it just never quite reaches the cusp of potential, which is maybe why Rage 2 is happening. Like, maybe that's why they're trying to accomplish it when, Rage 2 comes out later this year. I don't know. But regardless, thanks for watching, everyone. As always, if you like what you see here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification button to be apprised of all the latest updates on the channel. And be sure to check us out at our main website, Enthusiacs.com, or reach out to us on Twitter. You can find both the Enthusiacs and my own personal Twitter account in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.